Welcome to the YouTube channel for day 287. This was the 13th of June, 2023, a Tuesday. So again, I had another appointment in Tampa, which is far from where I live. And, I was there for a few hours, and that consumed most of my day, driving there and then back, and then having the procedure that I had done. And I have one more day of it this week on Thursday. So I didn't do too much. I had books, and I did Remote Wellness Academy and insurance, and that's basically it. That basically took the whole day. So continuing on with my discussion regarding my experiences in the military. I had after Fort Campbell, which is my second assignment, I had went to the 66 MI Brigade in Augsburg, Germany. It's no longer there. It's all closed up. But Augsburg is just right outside of Munich, and it's really nice, nice little town. Love Munich, and I have fond memories of the officer in charge of us, the S1, where I worked. I worked in the S1 section, which was the personnel section of that unit of the MI Brigade. So I was a personnel person in the MI Brigade, and I worked in S1. S1 is the personnel section. So the boss would come in during Oktoberfest and saying, "We're shutting everything down. We're going to Oktoberfest." And I have very fond memories. And if you're going to do Oktoberfest in Germany, you definitely want to go during the week, because it lasts for like 2 weeks or so. You want to go during the week and not the weekend, because the weekend it's just there's too many people. You won't, But during the week it's not so bad. When other people have to work, if you're lucky to close down for one day, and it's just one day, the boss would just shut everything down and saying, "Hey, we're going to go as a unit building activity." Have fond memories of us going to Oktoberfest and enjoying that. And Germany has a lot of other festivals, and every town has like a day where they have a festival, at least one, and sometimes they have multiple. They have a Christmas festival, and they'll have a summer festival, and in Schwetzingen they have a Spargel festival, which is German for asparagus. So that's in Schwetzingen. So they'll have that. They'll have the Spargel festival. So Oktoberfest is the biggest one of them all. So it's just massive, that fest that they have every year in Munich. So after I had that was my second tour in Germany. Got assigned to Fort Riley, Kansas. Went to Fort Riley, Kansas. And from there, let me take that back. No, after my second assignment in Augsburg, I went to Fort Bragg, North Carolina, and I went to the 18th Personnel Services Battalion. Now, like I told you yesterday, I had to go to air assault school at Fort Campbell because it was required. Mandated by the commanding officer, who wanted to make sure that every able-bodied person was able to go and do that training if you weren't on medical profile not to. Fort Bragg different because the airborne part of Fort Bragg is the 101st Airborne Division. So they do have an 18th Airborne Corps, which covers multiple units, but 18th Airborne Corps, nobody's required to be airborne. And I remember getting to Fort Bragg, and this is a long time ago, but we got there, and I used to have my own room in Augsburg in the barracks, so I had a pretty spacious room with furniture and all that, and I brought a whole bunch of stuff back with me. And getting back to Fort Bragg, they put me in a room in the barracks, and it was like 4 people to a room, half the size that I was living by myself in Augsburg. And it's like, this is definitely not going to work. and of course, there's no funding. There was no funding for allowing somebody to move off post. So at my own expense, I got another trailer home and lived in a trailer. In this trailer place, I had shared a trailer with another person, shared a 2-bedroom trailer, pretty big place, but the area was just right outside of Fort Bragg, in a town called Spring Lake, and it was a pretty rundown area. But I could not live with 4 people, and the stuff that I had came with the airplane, just on the airplane, the bags. I had no room for that. I had a little tiny wall locker, but it didn't even cover my suitcases. And the disparity at the time between married soldiers and them, getting housing, and the government providing, spacious accommodations for the family members, compared to being single, it's just different. So I was during my time in the military. I was a part of an organization called BOSS, which is Better Opportunities for Single Service Members. And I was like almost like, I wouldn't say it's an activist organization, but it really just advocated for the rights of single soldiers. So that was my experience there at Fort Bragg. I really didn't like Fort Bragg, at least the assignment, the place, the posts. North Carolina is a very beautiful place, but I'm not really fond of Fayetteville. I'm not very fond of Spring Lake. So it didn't seem like there was a whole lot to do there. I much rather preferred Fort Campbell as opposed to Fort Bragg. So that was pretty much it. I was very glad to get on orders again, and go back to Germany for the 3rd time. So I went back to Germany for the 3rd time, and this time it was a 3-year tour when I went back for the 3rd time. And the 3rd time I went back to the same unit that I was stationed at before on the first time. So the first time I was in first personnel command, and living in Tompkins Barracks in Schwetzingen, and we worked on a Kilbourne Kaserne, which is adjacent to Tompkins Barracks. So it's a little bit of a walk. And so that was my first assignment, and that was my 4th assignment. So, and I was, in both cases, I was in the Enlisted Personnel Management Directorate. And on the fourth time, I had gotten promoted at Fort Bragg to sergeant, and then I was a sergeant in Germany at First Personnel Command when I returned. And because I had some computer skills, I got selected to work in HR automation and work with a computer programmer. We became very good friends, and had a good 3-year tour there. And my mother and her common-law husband had visited me on my 30th birthday in Germany. We traveled all around. We went back down to Munich, which is far away from Schwetzingen, down to the Hofbrauhaus in Munich, and we toured all around. And we also went to London, England, and just did a bunch of different things. And I'm really happy that we had that opportunity. And so that was a good tour. And that third tour in Germany, I got to live off post, and I spent a total of 7.5 years between all 3 of those tours. 7.5 years living stationed in Germany. 5.5 years in Schwetzingen, which is just outside of Heidelberg, and 2 years in Augsburg. So I'm very grateful for those experiences. I'm grateful for the people that I served with and worked with. And, from there, I'll tell you tomorrow, what happened next. But, Germany is an excellent place. It was a very wonderful place to be. I miss it. I'm looking forward to going back for a visit one of these days. I haven't been back in years to visit Germany. I've seen pictures from other people have taken. The barracks that we lived at were World War II barracks that were taken, after World War II by the American forces. So these are German military caserns, and we took control of them, and now they're abandoned. They're basically abandoned. Everything is locked up. There's still signs out there that says United States Army, Tompkins Barracks, Kilbourne Caserne, but the Germans haven't done anything yet with them. I know a lot of them are in disrepair. There was a housing area in Heidelberg called Patrick Henry Village. I think a lot of that went to like house refugees, and but a lot of it's also abandoned. So I think some of it has to do with asbestos, and maybe that's why there's some environmental issues of why they can't tear it down or something, or maybe they're hoping that we're going to come back one day. It's a shame because we want a world at peace and everything, but it was a great opportunity for a young man who wouldn't otherwise have any other opportunities. I would have, if without the military, I probably just would have had some menial job doing something, and not have achieved the level of success that I had. So I'm very grateful that I've had those experiences. I got to travel around the world, and you're just hearing just the beginning of it. But that's the end of my Germany experience. 7.5 years living in Germany. So if you have any questions or comments, let me know. And thanks very much for watching. And tune in tomorrow. I'll have more to tell you about the remainder of my military career.